It's filed as demand for non-payment of rent. Mr. Fleeman, what's the current arrearage?
Your Honor, through October, I'm showing a rent balance $4,860. Looks like on the ledger, the last payment I see was back on June 16th. If Ms. Ibbotson has made a payment in the last day or so, I might not have it on this ledger. But continuing, the court costs are $200.50 for a total balance $5,060.50.
Ms. Ibbotson, what's your position?
Well, I did move out, so I text them and let them know that I'm no longer there and I need to turn in my keys, but I haven't got a response back from anybody as to how I do that, and I didn't just want to put them in the Dropbox and then not know whose keys or whatever they were. I lost my job. I tried to figure stuff out. I couldn't, so that's just where I'm at, and I'm still not working. Couldn't get any help from DHS. So I just decided I'd move out, and they told me they would dismiss it if I was out before today, and I was out Wednesday.
All right, well, that's the way to do it. You said a lot of things quickly that sort of add up. There's not much help anymore. During COVID, there was all kinds of money. They just spun it like gold, straw into gold, and had all kinds of money to assist people with rent. That money has greatly diminished, and there's less and less resource to help people pay their rent. So if you can't pay the rent, the next option is to move. You have already vacated. When you vacate, you need to give your forwarding address to them in writing and turn the keys over. Do you have any objection to them having immediate possession of the premises?
Nope, I cleaned it. It's everything. Everything's spotless. There's nothing there, no trash, no nothing.
Very good.
Am I correct that you said, Ms. Ibbotson, that you said you did not drop off your keys yet?
No, I texted Rochelle on Wednesday and I never got a response. I just didn't know how I turned the keys in, and I didn't want to just leave them somewhere, you know, and then, or you guys, I didn't know if I could put them in the Dropbox or what.
So we have a new manager in the office, and he's only there on Mondays and Fridays. So he's there all day today. You can drop the keys off and have an address.
All right, Mr. Fleeman, what do you propose here? A dismissal?
Your Honor, why don't we adjourn this out and I'll send in a dismissal. I mean, I presume everything is as she says. I have no reason to doubt or think otherwise, but I did this once recently where I dismissed a case before I knew for 100% sure and ended up having to make a motion to set aside my own dismissal. So,
all right, I'll tickle it for 7 days to await dismissal. Yeah. And I'm going to put you in a breakout room so she can provide the information regarding the forwarding address.
Okay. Okay.
And that's the only one you got this morning, isn't it?
Yep, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Well, let me put you guys in a breakout room. When you move, Ms. Ibbotson, the law requires that you give the forwarding address in writing, but I'm going to put you in a breakout room with your manager and Mr. Fleeman, the attorney. You can provide your information. If there's an issue regarding your security deposit, they need to know where to send it. They can't apply your security deposit to any unpaid rent or other damages. So I'm going to put you in with them, and once you give them that information, you can go on about your business. This, I think, is lot only. This park's got a lot of tenants that have been there for years and years. Miss Swinehart, how long have you lived here?
Longer than 10 years, I believe.
And you own your own trailer?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, they're alleging that your rent is in arrearage. And I'm not sure what the current arrearage is. So, Miss Palia, what is the current arrearage?
I have rent of $1,559.74. Court cost of $182.44 for a total of $1,742.18.
And you agree it's lot only?
That's correct.
And as you know, there's some controversy about whether we're even able to do this. I've been allowing it. Ms. Swinehart, I assume you wish to stay there. You indicate that you had sought some financial assistance. Who have you been in contact with? True North Community Services, I'm not familiar with them. What have you done to try to get assistance?
I went through, I went to Centerville through the, I don't remember,
DHS?
DHS, yes. And they're the ones that went through the other one that was listed on there. The True
I'm
North,
not, okay.
they're the ones that sent all my information to them. I got denied by both of them. They said that, I was denied because I made enough money to relocate.
Well, that's a fallacy. Nobody has enough money to relocate an old trailer. But let's talk about this. The funding agencies won't fund a house payment. If you're buying your house from the bank, from a lending company, and you owe $500 a month and you're 6 months behind, and so you owe $3,000, there's no funding agency that will give you money for that. They strictly deal with rent, and this is lot rent. And so they're requesting that you pay your lot rent. Do you have any ability to try to get caught up on this?
I wouldn't be able to do it in 1 week, but if payment arrangements could be made, then I would be able to. Right now, our job, we make doors for Ford. And so, like last week, we were laid off, and now this coming week, we're laid off again.
Where do you work?
IAC in Mendon.
Well, I had heard that IAC had had some layoffs.
Yeah, I have that. Plus, on top of that, I have really bad anxiety, and I have FMLA, and I was off on that for when they announced that we were going to be losing our jobs in December. That was bad enough, but now they're laying us off before December, and
So you're going to lose your job altogether in December?
we're in laid off for 3 or 4 months, they said.
All right, well, the plant almost closed a few years ago. For those of you that aren't from around here, it's a UAW union company, and it pays a good wage and has union benefits, but it's had its ups and downs, just like the rest of the automotive industry. But at any rate, you own the trailer, but not the lot. And
Correct.
it's very cumbersome to try to remove a trailer, particularly an older one, from a mobile home park. But the law says we have to adjourn this matter at least 7 days. I won't be here next Friday. So we're going to adjourn this until Monday, the 20th, which will actually be 10 days. But let's see what we got. How about 2 p.m. on Monday, October 20th? Does that work for you, Miss Palia?
Yes, that works.
All right, let me tell you a few other things. 2 o'clock, Monday, October 20th. I would give you 10 additional days from that day to move the trailer or move out. Now they're not, well, not move to move the trailer. You own it and you own everything in it. The park really doesn't want you to move the trailer because A, you probably can't get it out of there, and B, there isn't anywhere to move it to. So what you need to do is talk with your managers and see if you can work out something. Ms. Palia, are you willing to go into a breakout room with Ms. Swinehart and discuss some of those matters?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, I'm gonna put you guys in the breakout room. Bonnie, Lois, and Miss Polya. The problem is, Miss Polya, I need you on the next case. So I'm gonna put her in with the managers at first, and then you stay with me, okay?
Okay, I do believe, Judge, we had several dismissals between this case and we have the next case without a dismissal is scheduled for 9:30.
All right, so our next case would be Pallets versus, Three Rivers Village versus Piper. Is that one dismissed?
No, but I believe that one is scheduled at 9:30.
All
So
right,
we have
then
about
I'll
10
go ahead,
minutes.
I'll put you in the breakout room. And so everybody join. And I'll stay here and get ready for my next case. All right, thank you. Three Rivers Village versus Kimberly Piper. The file number is 251909. This is another, I believe, lot only, but I'm not completely clear. Let me make my notes here. All right.
Your Honor, I believe the tenant also has home rent. She rents the home.
I asked her that, and sometimes I can tell from the amount, but $378 per month isn't a lot. That's would include lot. I'm sorry.
I also have 750 added to that.
That's correct, Your Honor. Her lot rent is $378, but she also has home rent in addition to that.
Well, I haven't pled it.
Your Honor, then I would ask the court to amend the pleadings to correct the balance, the rental rate.
Well, let's talk about, so she pays $378 for the lot, and how much is the home rent?
$795.64 for home rent. She's also on a payment plan to make up past due rent, where she pays an additional $200 a month towards her previous delinquent balance. And that.
All right, well, this complaint doesn't share any of that with me. So how much is due now?
Your Honor, I have rent of $4,755.02, cost of $182.44 for a total of $4,937.46.
All right, that's through October.
That's correct.
So that includes trailer rent of $595.64 per month. Does it also include the $200 fee that she hadn't paid before?
Your Honor, it's $795.64 a month is her home rent. And then in addition to that, it's a repayment plan of $200 per month. So it does include the $200 per month to make up for her previous past due balance.
All right, well, that's a weird way to do it. Let's say the past due balance is $4,000. So you're not suing on the past due balance, you're only suing on the months she failed to do the late fee. Plus the lease doesn't include any of this stuff. So it's a little screwy, but Ms. Piper, what's your position?
I can pay October's rent. I just can't do it until next week, and I can pay every month after.
Well, that ain't gonna get it. You're already substantially behind. I can't tell how much your arrearage is, but there's some sort of off-book agreement that's not in the lease that you pay $200 a month. Plus, the complaint doesn't include the fact that you're supposed to be paying for rent the trailer and the lot. So there's some deficiencies here. I think you could benefit from discussing this matter with our representative from legal aid. But you are on the precipice of being evicted. You're already behind. Now you're farther behind. You're offering to pay 1 month's rent, and it's several months behind. When was the rent last paid?
I don't remember.
I'm asking the plaintiff.
Your Honor, my ledger doesn't go back far enough. The
My
agreement
ledger-
for the
my ledger
$200 a month was made in July. At that point, she had a $5,343 balance. And she entered into the separate contract to do a payment arrangement for $200 a month to catch up. That would go until October of 2027. Since then, no payments have been made.
Her last payment was made on 4/5/2025 of $620.
That's helpful. 4/5/25. Ms. Pfeiffer, you're about to get evicted. I'm going to adjourn this for 10 days till the 20th of October at 2:10. Now, you haven't paid any rent since April. They made an agreement with you in July that you would start to pay $200 extra per month to get caught up. And apparently you haven't been able to do that. So it's now October and you haven't paid any rent since April. They've got somebody waiting to rent this. I'm sure they have a waiting list of clients that would like to move in there. So that's what this process is about, to work out some way for you to either pay the rent or move. And they're asking me essentially to evict you. The sheriff comes and puts your stuff out in the street. The way the matter was pled in the summons and the complaint doesn't reflect the reality of what's going on. So there may be some issues that we need to straighten out. But the bottom line is you haven't paid your rent since April, and it doesn't look like you have the ability to pay it currently. And the fact that you can pay October isn't going to satisfy them for May, June, July, August, and September's rent. Have you made any provision to try to move?
No, because I have no means or anything.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. Now, your husband and kids are also there?
Yeah.
All right, I've known your husband for years. All right, you're in a tough spot. You owe a lot of money. They want you to pay or move. They did an odd job of filing the complaint. I've reset this for Monday, October 20th at 2:10. Ms. Bauer, would you be willing to speak with this tenant?
Of course, Judge.
All right, I'm going to put you in what's called a breakout room with Meg Bauer from Legal Aid, excuse me. She's very knowledgeable about landlord-tenant matters. I gotta close the other room. It'll take me 30 seconds. All right, there we go. All right, I'm gonna put Kimberly Pfeiffer and Meg Bauer in a breakout room, and then we'll take up our next case. All right, let me repeat. Our next hearing is October 20th at 2:10 by Zoom. I don't want you to come in just by telephone. If you can't come in by Zoom, I want you to come here to the courthouse. I don't like doing this just by phone where I can't see the people. So if you can Zoom in, great. If you can't, I want you to be here live at the courthouse. But if they get what they asked for, you would have 10 days from that day to pay the rent or move out, which would be October 30th. And after October 30th, the sheriff could come put your stuff out in the street. So there's some urgency to this. So you join the breakout room. It should do it automatically when you're here by phone, and you can speak with a representative from legal aid.
Your Honor,
All right.
I would just ask the court if I could file an amended complaint for this case so that it can be cleared up.
That would certainly be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
If you do this kind of work, you see this, people just throw their hands up. They don't have a plan. They aren't eligible for any assistance. They haven't made any arrangements to move anywhere. They're 6 months behind in the rent, and they don't, the wolf is at the door, and it's a tough spot. Now, one lady earlier, she could see the writing on the wall. Her lack of education hadn't hurt her none, but she moved out and found another place to go, maybe with her parents or something. But all right, Miss Ellsworth, let's talk about your case. Give me a minute here to make my notes. Miss Pfeiffer, let's talk about your case. This also appears to be lot only. It's alleged to be $378 per month. You indicated that your cousin owns the trailer,
Yes,
but
Your
not
Honor.
the park.
Yes.
Does your cousin also live there?
No, sir.
Who is your cousin?
Ashley Rosner.
All right, well, let's talk about your case. Miss Palia, what's the current arrearage here?
I have rent of $2,104.22, cost of $182.44, for a total of $2,286.66.
This is lot only
Correct.
through October. Miss Ellsworth, what's your position here?
So actually, and that's where I was kind of stuck. I didn't know how to get the help, but I just recently moved here. I don't even have an accurate lease in my name. The charges they're trying to charge me for, I did not live here, and I have proof from another lease from where I was living that I was not here. Prior to I lived here back in before November, and I paid $478 a month, so that was $100 over the lot rent allotment. And then when we moved out on good terms and moved to Kalamazoo. We just officially moved back here. And I still have not received a new lease to even sign or have in my possession.
All right, well, let's talk about this. You don't own the trailer.
Correct.
So the owner of the trailer should be the one that has the agreement with the park. Let's see what the lease says here. You have a lease, Brianna Ellsworth, Ashley Ellsworth. The lease was dated 2/10/24.
Yeah. See, and that's when I lived here previously. I moved out back in beginning of October.
All right, so you move in, you move out, the trailer's still there.
Correct.
And so that's still accruing lot rent. So there's a lease. Did they know you moved out?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and so then you move back in?
Yes, Your Honor. Which I didn't move in till the end of June.
Did you sign a new lease?
No, Your Honor.
Then you're a tenant at Sufferance. You have no lease. They can simply move to evict you because you're living there without a lease. And that's not a good situation to be in. You're moving out, you're moving in, the trailer stays there. So how does that work? You move out for 6 months, then you move back in. Nobody pays the lot rent on the trailer because I'm not here, but the trailer's still there. They can't use it for their other purpose. Apparently your cousin who owns the trailer doesn't have any lease with them. Can somebody help me on this? Lois, you've got the most history here. What can you tell me about this?
I show that Brianna Ellisworth made a payment of $500 on 6/2/2025, had a previous balance. I'm not aware of her moving back and forth at all. And if someone new did move in, we would absolutely have them sign a lease. We were in the middle of the transition in July, but her name is definitely on the old system before the transition. Her name is on the.
So is Isabella Berrigan. Isabella Berrigan is the one who took it over
Correct.
when I moved out.
So we can't be going back and forth. That's not how we do this. Back and forth, move in, move out.
Yes, all right.
Nobody thinks they rent.
Well, part of what's going on, Miss Ellsworth, is this is all over St. Joe County and all over the state of Michigan and all over the country. Companies are buying trailer parks. They were little mom and pop operations, and now they're being bought by large companies with professional management. Some cases they're trying to clean them up, and there's a lot of anguish. And we've got trailer parks full of old trailers that can't be moved anywhere. The companies are trying to modernize, so the last payment made here was $500 on June 2nd.
Correct.
And that was made by Isabella Berrigan.
Do you have a lease with Isabella Berrigan?
Actually, I do have a demand with Isabella's name on it. Back when the old owners owned the trailer park, she signed a lease, but they never gave her a copy of that lease.
All right, well, let's assume this. Let's assume you moved in June. Isabella Berrigan paid on some rent prior to that time, and now no one's paid any rent for June, July, August, September, or October. What's your response to that?
June was paid for because that's the one Isabella Berrigan made that $500 payment.
That went to money that was already owed. The $500 paid in June went to previous unpaid lot rent. So you move in June. So that's 5 months at $378 per month. That's $1,890, which is close to the figure they've got. A couple $100 off plus rent. So your position is, I'm living here. I haven't paid any rent since I got here, and they're no good bums because I moved back in without a lease. So you're a tenant at Sufferance. You're living there, and according to you, you have no lease. They're saying that you have a lease that you signed in February of 2024, and they never discharge you from the lease. I'm not sure how this Miss Ibbotson gets into the picture. Apparently they accepted money from her and they sent a demand in her name. But if we just start from scratch, you've been there since June, you haven't paid any rent. So they want you to move out or pay the rent. Also, if you're going to stay there, you need to either go on the existing lease or sign a new lease. Either way, you owe a substantial amount of money, close to $2,000 or above it. Do you have a plan to try to pay that?
Actually, I was going to be talking to, because I've been getting messages from, I believe her name is Rachel. We received a statement in the mail back in July stating that the current charges were $1,983.07. And then we had current credits of $1,368.44. So the balance due was $614.63.
All right, so you got a notice in July that said the balance was how much?
$1,983.07. And this is billing period of 7/1 to 8/31.
Give me that again.
$1,983.07.
Have you paid anything since July?
I have not, Your Honor, to be honest.
All right.
I have it put up, but I've also been waiting for a lease to sign.
All right, and this is a mess. It's in part because of the transition from the previous management to the new management. And so the numbers don't match. If we go 1983 from July, we have August, September, and October's rent at $378 per month. That still doesn't match. So I'm not sure how they got their number. But you're not going to get, if you don't have a lease, they're not going to give you any financial assistance because you're
Correct.
a squatter. You're living in your cousin's trailer and not paying any lot rent. And you have no lease. That's one way to view it. The other way to view it is you have a lease from February that they never released you from. When you move out, you're supposed to turn in your keys and give your forwarding address in writing within 4 days of your moving. If you just move and they don't know whether you're there or not, that doesn't get it. Plus, nobody paid the lot rent. So you are in a tough spot. In fact, have you made any provision to move?
Actually, I've been trying to find somewhere, yes. Because not only is it a struggle here, to be honest, but also the safety of my child in this trailer park.
Well, that's one of the things this company's trying to alleviate. I drive through that park about once a month when I come back from my meeting on Thursday. I'll go up and drive up Broadway to 9th Street and sometimes up to 14th Street and just look around because I'm nosy. But I go through the park at least once a month. I recently went on a tour and viewed some other parks. Anyway, they're trying to do their best. All right. Anyway, we need to continue this matter. And they're already here. I'm going to continue it to October 20th at 2:15. Ms. Bauer, while you were meeting with the last client, this one's even thornier also. The bottom line is she didn't pay any rent. She's living in her cousin's trailer. She claims she doesn't have a lease. They claim there is a lease. She's paid no rent since she moved in June. And so even if I go with the lowest number, let's just say I use that number, $1,890 plus court costs of $182.44. So it'll be $2,072.44. Let's just say I do that. You still would have to pay that within 10 days of October 20th. So essentially, you would have until the end of October to pay even that minimum amount. Their amount is higher than that, but not substantially. 2,104 as opposed to 1,890. Anyway, you're close to $2,000 that you would have to pay by the end of October. And the fundamental question is, you claim you have no lease. They claim you do have a lease. Frankly, you're in better shape if you do have a lease. A, you could get some emergency financial assistance, and B, you have standing as a tenant. Otherwise, you're a squatter living in your cousin's trailer with or without their knowledge. So then you impugn the reputation of the park, saying that you're nervous about your daughter's safety. So I was like, man, these people anyway. So maybe you should move. And this happens a lot. People would move if they had somewhere to move to. Right now, your rent is 0. That's a pretty good deal. But there isn't anywhere else that's gonna have a 0 rent. So we're gonna continue this. And I would also ask council and management to take a look at these numbers and look at these issues. You may also want to contact your manager. Also, is there an issue with the owner of the trailer? She has this trailer on the lot that she's like letting others live in, if there's any sort of agreement with the person that actually owns the trailer. So there's issues here also. And again, this is part of the transition from the old management to the new management. Ms. Polly, you have any thoughts on this?
I would note that the lease that we attached to the complaint that's signed by Ms. Brianna Ellsworth does indicate that she says tenant warrants and represents that tenant is the owner of the manufactured home and that tenant's name appears on the certificate of title. I don't have any documentation as to an Ashley Rosner or any information of the sort, but
well, she's listed
that's
as
what I do have. And
all
so
right, that would be Ashley Ellsworth, who's your spouse?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so she actually owns the trailer?
No, my cousin Ashley Rosner. So when Kiana
Okay.
was the manager before, she had
All right.
Ashley Rosner come in back last year when we signed the lease, and she had to give them copies of basically stating that she was renting it to us.
Well, all right. Once again, Meg, we got a little hornet's nest here, but the bottom line is you're living there and you're not paying any rent. And there are other issues, but at some point, you are either going to need a lease. Apparently your lease says you and your spouse are the owner. Anyway, this is what's legally qualified, if you look it up in Black's Law Dictionary, as a big mess. But we're going to continue it. I'm also going to give you an opportunity to discuss this matter with Meg Bauer from Legal Aid, and management and council will take a look at things at their end. But at some point, I'm likely to give you a number that you have to pay or move out. And whatever that number is, I'll give it to you on the 20th of October. And then I'll give you 10 days from that day to pay that number or move. Meg, you didn't hear most of this, Magilla.
I think I got the gist from your summary, though.
All right, thank you.
Judge Middleton, may I add one more thing?
Yes.
I just need to ask who signed the fresh start payment on 8/1/2025. Who signed the fresh start agreement? Miss Brianna?
I did.
So you signed the agreement that stated that you owed $1,368.44 to have a fresh start and to pay an extra $100 a month until caught up in full.
You are correct.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm going to need a copy of that. We can operate from that.
Absolutely.
provide a copy of that fresh start agreement.
Absolutely.
That makes you a tenant rather than a squatter. And it's gonna help us narrow down the amount that's owed. All right, that would be very helpful. And if you would send it to me, I'll make sure that Ms. Bauer can see it also. All right, for the time being, Ms. Ellsworth, I'm gonna put you and the attorney from legal aid in a breakout room, and you can talk with her regarding this.
Judge, before I go in there, and while Attorney Palia, Danielle, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Meg.
We went to law school together, Judge. But I just wanted to tell you that I directed Miss Pfeiffer to apply for Neighborhoods Inc. In conversation with her, she had not done an application there, so I directed her to apply there and submit the form, the court form. So
All right. We'll see where that takes us. All right. So that's always nice to see old law school classmates. I went to law school with my classmates about 100 years ago. You guys are probably more recent than that. Anyway, we'll work on this on October 10th. Thank you.
October 20th.
20th, October 20th at 2:15. Yes, thank you. Today's October 10th. Anyway, we got our work cut out for us when we meet next to try to get these squared away. At the last minute, Ms. Holloway informed us there may be a document we can work from, and that might help us. All right, thank you.
I'll have that submitted to the court. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. This is a claim for $7,399.61 plus cost, interest, and attorney fees. Once served with a lawsuit, Ms. Raleigh wrote a letter, which we accepted, indicating she was unable to pay it, but offering a repayment agreement. That didn't state a defense and left no material issue of fact. Plaintiff moved for summary disposition. The defendant is not here. Mr. McNally, you got any further information on this?
No, Judge, other than that, we also, after the pretrial, we did submit requests for admissions and discovery and got no response to any of those. So the request for admissions would also be deemed admitted. So in addition to her answer not denying anything, there is no denial of any of the requests for admissions that we submitted.
Well, if I grant the summary disposition, she still can contact the company and attempt to set up a payment plan. Right. And you have submitted an order.
I have, Judge, and just so the court's aware, my client is, and I think we've been in front of you a number of times on this client, and so I think you're at least aware generally that we're pretty reasonable to work with. The other factor is that my client, if you recall, stops interest from accruing on this account as soon as they send the file to my office.
Which is a blessing.
It is a significant discount and significant, and they don't take post-judgment interest, and it's as soon as they basically deem it to be going to litigation, they stop interest. So that was, stopped in February of 2025. So anyway, I just want the court to be aware of that, and I would ask the court to sign the order that we proposed with and submitted with the motion and brief for damages of $7,399.61, court costs of $130.40, statutory attorney fee maximum of $75 for a total judgment of $7,605.01. And if the defendant calls us, we'll absolutely continue to negotiate payments in good faith.
Well, you've stated everything that I would have stated, and you've accurately recounted the figures that are in the motion and in the order for summary disposition, and I'll grant it in the amount stated. I will note you have a lot of certificates. You must be famous there.
I had somebody else make that comment a couple of years ago, and I really didn't think about it. That the Zoom this was actually the very beginning of COVID, and somebody made those comments, and I'm like, I had a paralegal who had inherited a fair amount of money and decided that every certificate I had should be framed, and
Well,
so
they're very nice.
I'm licensed in 3 states, so there's 3 states. The Supreme
And
Court.
it looks like you're admitted to the United States Supreme Court.
I am. I
have one of those from when I was prosecutor. I don't go to the United States Supreme Court much, but yeah, that's the one right behind you.
You want to hear a great story about getting sworn in the Supreme Court for a moment?
Sure, they have a mass swearing in. Mr. Groen, he can learn something too.
And I have an associate, a little older than me, but an attorney here in Rochester who went to be sworn in person. I did not. I just got my certificate in the mail. And he went to visit friends in Virginia or whatever before the ceremony and swearing in. And he got up on the Monday or whatever to go to the Supreme Court, and he asks his wife, "Hey, where's my dress shirt?" And she's like, "I don't have a dress shirt. You packed your own stuff." So he fuddles around, and the family he lives with don't have dress shirts. They don't wear suits or anything. And he's like, "There's nowhere open. I got to be at the Supreme Court by like 8 a.m. So anyway, long story short, he wore a white polo and underneath his suit coat and put a tie on, and that's how he got sworn in at the Supreme Court. I'm like, that's
I probably didn't notice. He could have gone to a dry cleaner like Joe Pesci did and my cousin Vinny and see what they had left over.
Little ruffles.
Don't wear a brown tuxedo to the Supreme Court. No. All right. Well, thank you for that. I've signed your order. We are not in a time crunch, so we could share a story like that. I'll see you next time. And if Miss Raleigh contacts your company, they can still discuss a repayment agreement.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Groen, let's talk about your case. Yours is file 251168GC, Asthma Allergy Centers versus Teresa Myers of Sturgis. This is a claim for $794.70, plus cost, interest, and attorney fees. There's also a motion for summary disposition in here. And there's also a default.
We never, I think you have the default, Your Honor, because we never got a copy of an answer from her. So I think per our system, it just automatically got generated. So I don't think that was ever entered.
I'm going to do the one that shows summary disposition.
That's
$794.70, $131.46, 0 interest, 0 attorney fees for a total of $926.16. Does that match what you have?
That is exactly correct.
I'll simply grant there is the basis for the summary disposition. Again, defendant wrote a brief handwritten letter offering to set up a payment agreement. This debt is not very big, and it ought to be something that could be worked out with some sort of repayment agreement.
I agree, Your Honor. Unfortunately, she has not reached out to our office as of today's date, but we're always open to work out some type of payment arrangement.
All right, I've signed the order. Thank you for providing it. It makes life a lot easier when I actually have it in the file. Maybe we learned something about getting sworn in. I didn't go to the thing. I got mine in the mail. But I did have a case that got appealed to the Supreme Court. They didn't grant cert, but our office had to answer it. All right, I'll see you next time, probably on a Monday morning, but that takes care of this matter, and I hope you have a good rest of the day and a good weekend.
I appreciate it, Your Honor. You too.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's entitled Golden Pond Estates versus Shasta Kuntz and Kyle Sluice, lot 34 at that park. We were here on 9/26, made quite a lengthy record. And I believe we determined that lot rent, late fees, NSF fees, and utilities were $2,641.72. Court costs were $308, and we determined through October or through September, we're now into October, $2,949. We adjourned this 2 weeks, so the numbers will have changed. They had applied for help from DHS, and that's the status. They also had some issues regarding the water. Mr. Kromendijk has filed some water testing information and the agreement the park has with Perceptive Company. Mr. Kromendijk, what's the status here today?
We have an additional month of lot rent and an additional late fee at $50. And so that total balance has gone up by $445, which is the $395 lot rent plus $50 late fee. And so I can give you the total.
I can do it here. I'll see. So we'll add 264,172.
Should be
plus 445 equals 3,086.72.
Yep.
And we add 308.20 in court costs.
And it should give you $3,394.92.
Mr. Sluice, what's your position here?
I mean, we filed for help through DHS. There was an issue regarding the mail. So I had to reapply for that. I haven't heard from them. And also sent some stuff to Neighborhood Incorporated, I believe it's called.
All right.
Judge, may I
Yes.
also, Ms. Coons did complete an application with legal aid. We were scheduled for an appointment, but she had to work. She did reach out to me again, but we have been short-staffed here and I have not been able to follow up with her. I will say we have requested, I've mentioned this a few times, but the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy received about $400 from our firm for Freedom of Information Act records, and they have yet to process those. With regard to Golden Pond, I believe based on the volume of records. But I don't have a formal appearance filed, and I understand your Honor's discretion.
So you're asking for emergency help. You don't like the water, you don't like the sewage treatment, and you don't like the park, but you haven't got anywhere else to go. So you're asking for emergency help to stay there. We adjourned this matter for 2 weeks to do some of that. You indicated on the 26th of September, you've requested financial assistance. I got a filing from Mr. Kromendijk regarding the testing results of the water quality there. As I indicated, this had come up several times in the past before this current owner of the park. And the health department was reluctant to condemn it, to make everybody there homeless. So I don't know, they apparently they have some records on it. They haven't done anything about it. Also, Ms. Bauer does not have an appearance on behalf of the defendants, and we've already adjourned this matter for 2 weeks. It's clear that something is due and owing. Now, let's talk about this. The claim is you owe $3,086.72 in rent and late fees and NSF fees, and $308 in costs for a total of $3,394.92. Let's say that DHS or Neighborhoods Inc. gives you some money. Let's say they give you $2,500. You would still owe the remaining balance. The only thing that cures this is paying the entire amount of the rent.
Correct.
They can agree to work with you in some sort of a payment plan, but by the letter of the law, unless you pay this amount within 10 days, you're subject to being evicted. And that would be 10 days from today, which would be October 20th. Now, legal aid could come in and ask for a stay if they're actually going to come into the case. But then there's always the issue of next month's rent. You're going to have to pay November's rent and December's rent. And I'm not sure what your financial status is. Are you back to work?
Yes.
All right. So if you think if you could get financial help, you could get back to square one and then start to pay your rent each month.
Yes. And I'm willing to pay anything on it now too. I just didn't know what I should be doing pertaining to this case being open. Should I be submitting money to them, or what should I be doing?
You can. Any money you submit would be applied to the back rent.
Okay.
Now, if there's going to be some sort of a claim that this violates the basic covenant of habitability, I would order that you start to pay your rent into escrow, but no such claim has been made.
Okay.
At least you said the water isn't good, but and it's good enough apparently for the health department. So yes, you can make payments on this and see Miss Villa and the management there. Any payment you made will be applied toward the arrearage and get you closer to what you need to do. Mr. Cromendike, I don't have an order here. I wish I did have a judgment, but I would ask that you send one for those figures. 3,086.72 and 308.20. The date for the writ would be 10 days from today, which would be October 20th, and that's also the appeal date. I would advise you to stay in contact with legal aid and your funding sources. They don't have to evict you on that day. They have 56 days from today to ask for the writ of eviction. So if legal aid is going to file an appearance, they can ask to stay the matter. Or if you're going to get some funding, but it's going to take a little longer, you should share that with the manager. But by the letter of what I'm about to order, you have to pay $3,394 within 10 days, or you're subject to being evicted.
900 and what?
3,994.92.
90.
I believe it's 3,394.
Yes, 3,394.92. I'm not sure what I said, but that's what we wrote. You're going to get a copy of this order in the mail.
I won't get a copy in the mail. I can't access my mail.
They still haven't gotten us the key.
All right.
What is your email address? I will email a copy to one of you guys.
I don't want to put her email address out over the live.
Oh yeah.
You know what? How about I just send it to the manager?
That would be great.
And you'd get it from there. And that's a covenant of habitability issue. They can't get their mail. I've heard this complaint from other tenants. I'm not sure what the deal is with the lock boxes or.
Yeah, I talked to the owner of the park about it, and he has a number of communications back and forth with. I'm not sure if it was with Kyle, which defendant it was with, but he had a number of communications back and forth. And me bringing it up with him was the first time he had heard about it. So
previously.
Correct. And so I
don't-
did mention it to him when I talked to him, and he said it, you know, that they were going to address it. So I have not heard since then.
All right. Well, I'll send it to management. You go get it. And if I had your email, I can have,
Judge, I
give
can
your
send
address
you.
to Mr. What?
I can send you and Mr. Croman Dyke your email address.
All right,
Perfect.
thank you. And
Thank you,
then
Meg.
make sure we email copy to her. All right, do you have any questions?
I do not.
All right, I'll await your order, Mr. Croman.
All right, we'll get it sent in right away.
All right, we've got, and I've accepted this filing regarding the current status of the testing with the water company.
And I'm happy. I've had lengthy phone calls with Kerry Williams, who's the individual who does the testing, to get my mind wrapped around kind of how the process works, what the requirements are, what they're doing regularly. I would be happy to speak on that if that would be helpful, whether it's now or whether it's at some time in the future.
Well, the health department hasn't taken any action, and the tenant just says, well, the water smells bad.
Well, there is high iron content. I mean, it is well water, and there is iron in it. And so I think one of the issues that we're facing is that the water is being pumped out of the ground by two wells that are owned by the park. It is going through a water main system that is owned by the park, and then there are laterals that connect to each individual home. Right? The park has spent significant time and money making sure that the pumps, the main, and all of those laterals are clean by doing extensive flushing. The main is flushed about every 2 weeks, is my understanding. The laterals were all flushed last year until they ran clear. The problem is that, like I said, there is iron in this water, and a lot of these homes in this park are older homes. And so what happens to that water once it enters into the home's actual plumbing system is, what we suspect is that is causing a lot of the issues here, because there are some very old pipes in the homes themselves. These are not homes that are owned by the park, and so they really can't do anything about that.
This home is owned by the park.
Correct. This one is, but many of them are not.
All right, well, I don't have any samples from the tap of this place. They just, say what they say. Anyway, we'll see where this takes us. And as I've said earlier today, a lot of these parks have been purchased by big companies that are trying to clean them up and modernize them. And there's a lot of growing pains, not to mention the fact that everything gets more expensive. But this is an expensive overhead item for the park, and results in higher lot rents. All right, Mr. Coons and Ms. Sluice, or Ms. Coons and Mr. Sluice, you stay in contact with your funding source and with legal aid. If I don't hear anything else, you've got 10 days to move or pay the rent.
Okay.
You're free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we've got Mr. Lester. And I'm going to remove everybody else. Mr. Lester, would you remove your hat? Thank you. All right, this is another repeat case. This is ARLK Properties LLC. The file number is 251827LT. Nate from ARLK Properties is here. Andrew Rugnes is here on behalf of the plaintiff, and Cody Lester is here. Last time, Catherine Smith was with the children. She wasn't here. We made a finding that the rent through September was $3,600 plus some late fees and some other costs. Mr. Rugnes, what's the current arrearage?
At this point in time, Your Honor, I believe, and Nate can confirm for me, October is now due in the amount of $1,200. So the rent through October 10th, which is the due date, is $4,800. There's late fees of $50 a month totaling $200. And there's cost $55 filing fee, $102.40 service fee, statutory attorney fee is $75, which totals up $232.40 for a total $5,232.40.
Give me that total again.
$5,232.40.
Mr. Lester, what's your position?
We've been working with Neighborhood Inc. and with Community Action Agency. And to my knowledge, they're working with Nate as well. I'm not exactly sure how far all that's gotten. Usually my wife.
Well, we did adjourn this 2 weeks. Have they confirmed that you're going to get some help?
I believe so, yes.
All right. Well, all right, let's talk about that. In order to cure this, you have to pay the entire amount. Partial payment will not cure the writ of eviction. You owe a lot of money, $5,232. So let's say the funding agencies give you $4,000. You'd still owe $1,232. You have to pay the entire amount to cure it, or you still would be subject to being evicted. The landlord can agree to work with you to get caught up on this, but they don't have to. I'm going to sign an order that says you have 10 days from today to pay that amount. $4,800 in rent through October, $200 in late fees, court costs of $232.40 is a total of $5,232.40. That's due within 10 days, which would be October 20th. Partial payment will not prevent the writ of eviction, as I said. If there's additional rent owed or additional money due, that you could be liable for that as well. If you do move, it's your obligation to give your forwarding address to the landlord in writing within 4 days of your moving and turn in the keys. You also have until October 20th to appeal this. Now, Mr. Nate, let's say they do get money from these funding sources and they say, well, we can pay $4,000 today. We'd like to work out an agreement to pay the rest. You can do that. You have up to 56 days from today to ask for the writ of eviction. Mr. Rognus knows all this, and he would advise you the same thing, but you don't have to. So you can agree to work with them to try to get caught up on the rent. You, like everybody else, probably have a waiting list of people waiting to rent, but it's easier to keep a good tenant in there than to move one out and move another one in. So that's up to your discretion. You can discuss that with your lawyer. Mr. Lester, do you have any questions?
Not really, sir.
All right, stay in contact with your funding agencies, provide that information to your landlord, and stay in contact with your landlord.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Zolan, have you talked to Ms. Richmond since last week?
I haven't talked to her at all. I was out of work a couple months and I am back to work. I was deactivated for false allegations and I had to go through arbitrary to get my job back. My brother went and talked to her privately at some point and she suggested evicting me. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on, what they've discussed. He was going to pay the arrears or work something out, I thought, today. And I wasn't aware that he didn't have to be present. So
Well, if he isn't present, he's subject to default. But he's not in contempt or anything if he doesn't show up. I'm surprised that she's not here. Maybe they're talking right now, but normally she's very prompt.
Yes.
You got deactivated. I think I'm about to be deactivated. Where were you working?
I work for Spark Delivery for Walmart. It's a service for shopping and delivering. And things have gotten pretty bad this year because of the economy, but there was some other things that went on too.
Well, you don't need to share anymore. But so
Yeah.
you're back to work with them?
Yes, I am.
I had a lady who was working for that company and she went to make a delivery and man's dog scratched her car all up.
Oh yeah, it's kind of dangerous. It can be.
We were here last on October 3rd. Mr. Steve Olenberg was here. Kaya Zolan was not. I held on to this. She also had failed to appear on a traffic matter. She didn't appear for that either. She did appear on the other matter, and I reminded her of this case. So she is here now. We were here last week. Mr. Oldenburg was here, Ms. Zolan was not. We made a finding that rent through October, I believe, was $2,384.95.
That's correct.
Plus court costs of $187.18. Can't read my writing.
82. 13. But I've got
That's
a water
still-
bill on here now too. Can I add that?
Yes.
Okay, so that would make the rent
What's the water
25.
bill?
It is $132.80.
All right. Mr. Olenberg and Ms. Zolan. We discussed this last week. Mr. Olenberg, each side maybe was a little uninformed. The claim was that Ms. Zolan was getting correspondence and didn't share it with Mr. Olenberg, who was also on the lease. Then he may have spoken to Ms. Richmond, which Ms. Zolan was not privy to. But at this point, the number appears to be accurate. Ms. Zolan, what's your position?
Me and my brother discussed working something out with putting money down on the back rent, and he's going to cover me for the time being. But I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm unaware of what's going on. Last time I knew that they had planned on evicting me.
Well, we've been through this several times. This may be the third or fourth time we've been through here. And like I said, they have a waiting list also. But that's the number.
What was the total number again?
All right, let's go through that. Through October.
Yeah.
The number is $2,384.95. We have an additional utility bill of water, $132.80.
Which is it?
And a court cost of $187.18. Add that up. $2,384.90 plus $132.80 plus $187.18. Total is $2,704.88. Miss Richmond, were the utilities supposed to be in her name and then got placed in your name, or
No,
what happened?
we paid the water bill and split it between the two apartments. And then they
All right,
paid it.
So that's her half?
Yeah, it's their half.
All right.
It's a
By
duplex.
law, it's due within 10 days from today. That would be October 20th.
Steve?
Partial payment will not prevent the writ of eviction. There is no money judgment here at this time. Now, I think Mr. Oldenburg knows this because I told him this last week, but let me tell you also, Mr. and Mrs. Richmond know this very well. They don't have to evict you on October 20th. They can agree to work with you for up to 56 days to get the rent paid and up to 56 days more to serve the writ. But at some point, they may just be tired of getting on this merry-go-round of sometimes the rent is paid, sometimes it isn't. But this isn't overwhelming, but that would bring you current through the month of October. Then, of course, on the 1st of November, the next month's rent is due. So you can agree to try to work this out with some sort of catch-up plan. I think you've done that in the past, but that's up to them. They may not wish to do that. So that's the amount. We're going to send it. You can discuss it between the two of you, and then you can discuss it with Ms. Richmond. And I say this almost every time. It's easier to keep a good tenant in there than to kick one out and move another one in. If you're in the apartment right now, it looks neat and clean and well appointed. And there's a benefit to that. This is the half of a house on Walnut Street that I used to deliver newspapers to. That's a nice street. I always liked it. All right, Ms. Zolan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Ms. Richmond?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. All right, Mr. Oldenburg, Ms. Zolan, you need to talk to each other, but and then you can talk to Ms. Richmond, but she's got some other cases she needs to attend to.
Okay.
We'll certainly be in touch, Terry.
Okay, good, Steve.
Yeah, I want to get this resolved. So.
Yep.
All right, very good. I think it will be. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Delivering newspapers is definitely a thing that is not a thing, but it was 60 years ago. I wasn't 10. I would have been 14, maybe 13. Let's got 2 supplemental complaints with Miss Richmond. First thing I'm going to do, Miss Richmond, is place you under oath. You swear or affirm.
I'm going to bring Larry in quick. Larry and Lydia. Is anybody here for him?
No, no one's here for either case.
Okay. Then I guess it's just me.
All right. Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Larry, as long as you're there, why don't you raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give here will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a seat. I saw the pictures that you had supplied, and I'm glad they came without smell-o-vision.
Yeah, you better be glad. I think he had 4 or 5 pit bulls over there.
Oh, it was a very poor condition.
I know.
Right. In your supplemental complaint, you do a nice job on these. You do better than many of our attorneys do, and you put it in a format where I can discern it.
Thank you.
Let's talk about this. Do you indicate that the rent through June 18th is $2,294.04? Is that accurate? Dispose of 10 tires from the backyard at $5 a piece, $75 with labor. Yes. Replace sliding door dogs tore off on the back of the garage with labor, $1,000.
Yep, the dogs tore all the siding off the back of the garage.
Also, they had a fire and burnt part of it too, half of it.
Pit bulls are not my thing.
Mine
Replace missing basement door, $150. Repair several holes in walls throughout the house, $200. Is that accurate?
Well, it's probably a lot more than that, but
I'm sure it is. Cleaning excessive filth, $300. What I saw looked like it would be $3 million, but you're asking
Should have been too.
$300.
Trying to be fair.
tear all the carpet out of the house and dispose and seal floors, $320. Haul two dump trailers and furniture to the dump, $320.
That wasn't it.
Repair the backyard, $530. Take down OSB and fix the back porch with labor, $825.
Yeah.
So the total amount of damages you're claiming are $6,189.04.
Correct. And
And
he
there was
didn't
no
have a
security.
deposit. We sold him the house and he quit making the payments, and he had a $10,000 down payment. So when he quit paying for the Larry went and talked to him. He wasn't paying taxes, insurance, and all that. And so Larry went and talked to him and gave him $5,000 back, and we put him on a lease.
Well, this is under the category of no good deed goes unpunished.
That's true.
I'll drink to that.
I don't have a judgment in here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to get one to you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Usually I do. I'm surprised I don't see it.
You know,
But
I
I'm gonna
thought
grant
about
your
that.
judgment by default in the amount of $6,189.04. Let's put the costs in there also.
Oh, yeah. What was
The costs are $70 filing fee, $49 service fee. Did you have to do the writ here?
No, he dropped off keys.
All right, so that's $110.49 in costs. So the total is what you pled for, $6,189 plus $140.49. $6,189.04. 6189.04 plus 140.49 is $6,329.53. Plaintiff will
Thank you, Your
submit.
Honor.
All right, let's talk about our next case.
Okay.
I thought he might actually be here.
I thought so too. Because he showed up for the court case.
Yes. The next one is Terry and Larry Richmond versus Walter Wardell. Mr. Wardell had a hard time maintaining this tenancy. He got some help from several different agencies. Even the Swift Insure program paid part of his rent. But ultimately, he couldn't afford to stay there. So you're still under oath. Let's talk about this one.
Most
certainly
of it's
not as,
rent.
yes, not nearly as bad as the other. Mr. Wardell's trying to make his way in the world, and I hope he can. He did finally find a better job last I knew, but I haven't seen him in a while.
Well, that's a good thing.
I saw him at a meeting one night. There was a Judge Stutzman hosted a meeting of peer recovery people, and I went to it and talked to a lot of folks, and he was trying to get his life in order. That would have been like last fall. So, but let's talk about this one. Rent is $2,876.33.
Correct.
Cleaned kitchen and bath, $150. Shampoo the carpets, $80. Replace carpet, step to the bath, $50. Total damages, $3,156.33.
Yes.
Minus the security deposit of $975.
Yes,
So the total damages is 2,181.33.
correct. And then the court costs were 268.74.
For a total of 2,451.07.
That's correct.
Do you have a current address for him?
No, I don't. Do you?
You take a look. No, I don't.
Okay.
Not anything different than this one. Well, that precedes this. I had an East Michigan address, but I think that was before this tenancy.
Yeah, I think his family lives over there probably.
Well, I think he's still around. I hope he is. His sister, you can contact her through Neighborhoods Inc. But I hope he's doing better. But anyway, he isn't here to challenge it. Your figures are all generous to the defendants, and they're all well pled, supported by your sworn testimony. So same thing, if you'd send me a judgment in that one, I will execute it.
All righty. I'll get it over
right,
to you.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you next time.
All right, thanks. Have a good weekend.
Working on it, thank you.